Your title, position?
Sergeant.
So Sergeant Tony Joe.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to the Montagne Posée Commission of Inquiry, established to find out the truth regarding the events that took place at Montagne Posée prison on the 5th and the 6th of December 2024. So our interest is in finding out the truth, and that's why we have called you to give your evidence. My name is Justice Alfred Mavedzengi. I am the chairperson of the commission, and I would like my fellow commissioners to introduce themselves.
I am Melchior Vidot.
Victor.
Thank you, commissioners. On our extreme left is our secretary for the commission, Miss Chelsea Albest, whom you have interacted with before. And the secretary for the commission is going to administer the oath, then we take it from there.
Says Attorney Joe, est-ce que vous êtes chrétien or do you follow another denomination?
Catholic.
Can I speak Creole?
Yes.
Can
you stand up, please? Put your right hand. So if you can repeat after me. I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give to this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Sergeant Tony Joe. I'm going to ask you to confirm.
Will you want to roll? Yeah. Just asking for translation.
Okay. So I'm going to read out the following rules in English, and then the translator will translate them into Creole, and then you respond. So the way it is going to work now is that when you speak, you try to speak slowly so that he can have an opportunity to translate. Then you give him an opportunity to translate before you move on to the next point. Is that fine?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So I'm just going to remind you of a few rules that we would like you to observe during this testimony. So the first is, please tell the truth, nothing but the truth.
Chairman Commission, on veut juste faire un rappel de toi la règle avant que nous commençons. Premier, c'est qui ou là pour dire la vérité et rien que la vérité.
I suspect that the interpreter is saying chairman of the commission.
Yes.
So these are the rules of the commission. So I'm just reading out. So you can just tell him this is what the commission is saying.
Ça, il a règle, ça commission, ça qui m'en dit là.
Thank you very much. Please answer all the questions asked to the best of your knowledge.
Et vous besoin répondre aux questions d'après vos connaissances, d'après ça que vous connaissez.
So when we ask you questions, just answer the question, even if the question has been asked before. Just answer the question.
Et les questions que vous posées avec vous, juste répondre à sa question malgré capable on a des fois qui sa question désagréable demander une fois.
Conduct yourself with dignity and respect.
Vous besoin conduire le corps de façon qui montre que on a dignité après respect.
So this includes when you are describing other people in your testimony. So no matter what you think, how you feel towards them, we urge you to refrain from using insulting language when you are describing them.
Et ça il parle plus aussi pour décrire certains individus Malgré n'importe quoi qu'on capable sentir ou bien penser envers sa bon individu, s'il vous plaît, pas besoin de servir bon langage pour insulter ou bien dénigrer sa bonne du monde.
Please, and I think this is for everyone also in the room, please refrain from interrupting proceedings, interrupting the testimony. This includes switching off your mobile phones and putting them on complete silence.
Sa petit bout qui là, il applique surtout pour nous tous qui ici en dedans, pour nous rappeler, pour pas interrompre pendant que sa commission peut commencer et pour nous tenir nos téléphones ou bien mettre le silence complètement pour pas distraire.
Thank you very much. So, Sergeant Tony Joe, what is going to happen now is we are going to take turns to ask you questions. We are going to start with Commissioner Vidot on my right, and then we take it from there.
Question pour commencer à demander avec nous pour commencer commissionnaire Vidot de son côté droit.
So the witness is yours, Commissioner.
Okay. Good morning, Sergeant Tony Joe. For how long have you been in employment with the prison services of Seychelles?
Pour combien de temps que vous employez avec service prison Cécile?
La plus bonne 14 ans, 15 ans les prochains.
Now at the moment it's 14 years. It's going to be 15 years next year.
Okay. And what is the nature of your job presently, the duties that you are doing?
Là en ce moment là qui ou ban duty ou ban devoir qui vous fait en ce moment?
Mon louvage beaucoup de responsabilité. Mon section search-room, toutes les choses quand tu es dans la prison, toutes les choses qui sont sorties de prison.
I have a lot of responsibilities. I am in charge of the search room, everything that goes in and out of prison.
So I would be right in saying that you are not based inside the mill block of the prison?
Est-ce qu'il est correct pour commissionnaire Vidot dire alors est-ce qu'il n'est pas basé under the mill block dans la prison?
Non, non.
No.
Okay. And were you on duty on the 5th and the 6th of December 2024?
Tu peux travailler le 5 et le 6 décembre 2024?
Yes, je travaille.
Yes, I was working.
Okay. And you know that there was an incident at the prison?
Ou qui tient un incident qui arrive à la prison?
L'incident est au courant.
Whether you are aware, that's all I want
Si
to know.
vous au courant, oui ou bien non.
Ça joue?
That day, les 5 et le 6?
Non.
No.
Les 5, on va au courant. À cause les chives à l'incident, on m'a écouté.
The 5th, I was unaware because when the
Comme si
incident happened, when the incident started, I was at my home.
So, at what time did you report to work on the 6th?
Au
matin.
In the morning.
What time?
6 heures du matin,
7 a.m. ordinarily I arrive at that time.
And when you arrived, were you directed to any special duties?
Et là où tu arrives, est-ce que tu as donné aucun devoir, aucun duty spécial pour faire?
Justement, mon responsabilité, les
No, the question is, were you directed to do any special duties?
No.
Okay. So nobody came to you, no superior came to you and asked you that you, or told you that you had to undertake certain duties.
Ça veut dire tu n'as pas personne aucun supérieur pour venir côté pour dire que tu as tel devoir spécial pour faire ça?
Non.
No.
Okay. So, did you get involved in any duties apart from your normal duties of searches, or conducting searches?
Est-ce que vous t'es impliqué ou bien tu fais aucun les autres duty devoirs à part qui ça devoir principal qui vous habitué faire côté search room là que par uniforme?
No.
No.
Did you not go into the male block of the prison?
Ou parti dans sa section côté mail block de prison?
Ça joue au matin, non.
That day in the morning? No.
Did you ever go inside the mail block of the prison?
Est-ce que tu
On that date?
Pardon?
No, that day no.
No, no.
When did you go, or if ever you went to the mail block of the prison?
Est-ce que tu es allé comme si à aucun point pendant le temps, ça joue côté mail bloc de prison?
No, no, no.
No.
So you don't know anything about the incident that happened?
Alors, ou pas qu'on n'a rien concernant ou bien rapport avec ça, l'incident qui t'est arrivé?
L'incident, moi, je suis call côté moment. Mon safety call, moi, c'est moment de prison.
The incident, I received a call when I was at my home. My superior called me and told me to come to prison.
When was that?
C'est quand ça?
C'est ça jour.
It was that day.
Date, please.
Qui date spécifique?
C'est le 6.
The 6th.
So that's exactly what I'm saying. On the 6th, you were instructed to come down to the prison.
Ça veut dire le 6
Ça jour
août.
soir, oui.
That night, yes.
The night of the 6th.
Ça jour, pour tu viens de prison, oui. Là, je suis call.
That day that I came to
Motivine.
prison, yes, I did after receiving a call.
On the 6th, you said at night.
Oui, ça
Yes.
jour, oui.
Yes,
Ça jour,
that
ça arrive
day.
là, ça va dans.
The day that this incident happened.
Mr. Turner Joe, let's get something clear. The incident happened on the, as far as we've gathered evidence, the incident happened on the 5th and the 6th of December.
The other 6.
Okay. Which date? And you said that on the 6th you reported to work as
Normal
usually
duty.
do. Pardon?
Normal duty.
As
Yes,
normal
normal
duty.
duties.
That day I come here normal duty.
So when were you called by your superior?
At, moi, je suis sorti de prison 3h30, mon.
I
Charlie.
left the prison at 3:30.
On the
Charlie.
6th. You're talking about the
Ça joue,
6th.
oui.
That
Oh.
day, yes.
So you were called?
Yeah, là, moi, je suis moi, je suis call.
Yes,
Avec
while
mon
I
chef.
was at home,
Mon vin
I
de prison.
received a call for me to come to prison.
And who is that superior who called you?
De quel sa supérieur qui t'y contacté?
L'inspecteur Nicolas.
Inspector Nicola.
Okay. And what did he tell you?
Il dit, moi, je suis de prison.
He
Une
told-
situation, je suis de prison.
Told me to come to prison. There is a situation happening at the prison.
But on the 6th, when you were present at the prison, okay, you were reported to work in the morning. Did you not notice anything happening at the prison?
De 6 là où tu arrives à côté travail bon matin par yundi, ou pas tu ne remarques aucun quelque chose comme si qui peut arriver qui côté prison.
Bon matin, non.
In the
Pour moi,
morning,
Pour
no.
moi, duty normal.
I resumed my normal duty.
So when you were called on the 6th in the evening, okay, by Inspector Ivan Nicola, you reported to the prison.
Yes.
So when you arrived at the prison, were you instructed to undertake any special duties?
Alors, si là où tu arrives côté prison après écouter une école là les 600 soir, est-ce que tu gagnes à donner aucun nouveau spécial pour faire?
Autrement, non. Les moments arrivent prison, on a dit de contrôle.
We just
No.
want you to answer the question that I asked, okay? Were you given special duties when you
Pour les moments,
arrived? Okay.
At the moment, no.
Were there any police or military officers present when you arrived at the prison?
Et tu n'as aucun officier de la police ou bien militaire qui est présent là où tu arrives côté prison?
Les moments de vie, mon oasis PSW,
When I
après
came,
mon dog unit.
I only saw the PSSW and the dog unit.
So what duties were you asked to perform?
Qui ban devoir ou soit travail que tu gagnes demandé pour faire.
Mon a dit de contrôle.
I went straight to the control room.
You never went inside the prison, the mail block of the prison?
Ou pas si jamais entrer en dedans dans mail block de prison.
Les qui sont dans mes blocs, ils demandent c'était à 7h30.
When I entered inside the mail block, it was at around 7 to 7:30.
Pas en dedans, je descends en bas, dans le garde room.
Not inside, I only went down in the guard room area
Cause mon un qui m'a dit pas entrer.
because I was amongst the ones that was told not to enter.
Who told you not to enter?
Même l'inspecteur Nicolas, puis un CI, on peut imaginer qu'il
De
est
qui
CI.
qui dit ou pas entrer?
L'inspecteur Nicolas.
Inspector Nicola.
Do you know of, or were you told the reasons why you were asked not to enter into the mail block?
Yes, for my own safety, because according to the nature of the work that I do.
Okay. And so you didn't go inside the prison, the mail block of the prison itself?
Ça veut dire pas en dedans même de sa mail block de prison. I went inside, but I did not take long.
What did you go to do inside?
De ban neve les mochi comme si t'ancien un bout en bas. So tu fais nettoyer. Puis ça nous fait nettoyer ça bout en bas. Puis ça me battait puis au cadence.
So it was at around 9. There is a section downstairs. They were asking us to clean that area. So after I had finished cleaning that area, that's when I met with cadence.
Puis ça nous monter. Parce qu'il y a beaucoup la fumée comme quand sinus mon. Il nous monter. On a comme si on arrive à peu près deuxième floor, gars chocopi la lit pour penser sa deuxième section.
So since there was a lot of smoke and I am someone that suffers from sinusitis, and as we reached the second floor, the officers were still struggling to take back that particular floor.
Puis ça les noirs là juste mon comme si pendant temps dedans même moi dis pendant un petit temps d'accord ben chocopi puis dis mon vilain même mon tourner.
So upon arriving there, I did not get the chance to enter directly inside. Upon just reaching there, I just made a turn and went back.
Mr. Tony Joe, you told us that when you came to the prison in the morning of the 6th to take duties,
yes,
there was nothing going on. That's what you told me earlier on.
Yes.
There was nothing going on. You never mentioned there was any fire or anybody having to take control of the prison. That's what you told us early on.
Yeah,
okay, is that what you told us early on? Okay. So how come now you come and tell us that when you arrive, you had to go up because there was fire and they had to take control of the prison?
On vous explique bien. Les moments prison ban les qui m'ont gagné on a de control. Control y les prison y en Bali.
So upon arriving at the prison, I will explain it properly. Upon arriving there, I went straight to control, and control is located upstairs.
I just want to clarify something. I have made similar observations that the commissioner is making. Your testimony so far is not clear. I think you should translate that for him to hear.
Ça qui Monsieur commissionnaire peut dire c'est qu'il fait l'observation qui en rapport avec l'évidence qu'on peut donner jusqu'à présent, il pas assez tant clair.
Yeah, you are saying one thing, then next you say something else, right? So I just want to remind you that you took an oath to tell the truth.
Et qui ou dit quelque chose un instant, c'est après l'autre instant ou dit un autre quelque chose, pour ça monsieur commissionnaire il souhaite pour rappeler qui on dit ou pour dire la vérité.
I also want to remind you that if you lie before the commission,
et aussi envie faire rappel que si vous cause mentir ou bien mensonge dans sa commission,
you will be committing a criminal offense.
Il pourrait l'offense criminelle que vous pouvez commettre à ça l'état.
So I think just have that in mind as you tell your story, so that we don't get conflicting statements within 5-10 minutes.
Alors, si c'est y en a ça en tête en musique, vous pouvez raconter aux histoires, ça qui est arrivé pour qu'il n'a pas bonne évidence qui gagne qui est en conflit avec camarades.
We are reminding you of these rules to protect you.
Ça ban la règle nous peut faire rappel pour nous protéger nous-mêmes.
It is our duty when we see a witness moving towards breaking some of the rules, we caution them, we inform them, so that we protect them. So we are telling you, we are reminding you about this to protect you.
Ça rappelle nous peux faire pour protéger à cause normal qu'il est nous voir qui c'était témoin peut aller un petit peu en dehors puis qu'est-ce ça qu'ils autres peut dire là il nous les voir pour nous step in et là nous protéger ça dit monde pas advice li donne conseil en rapport avec ça.
Okay, so you may continue, but please answer the questions that are asked.
Do you want to restart from?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Yes,
I
do you
to
want to
explain
restart?
Yes.
that day properly well.
So, what you told us was that on the 5th you were working. You went home after you finished work. Or you went, okay.
Yes, I went home.
And the next day you came back to work.
No,
No, you said in the morning of the 6th you came back to work.
Yes, that day I came to work as normal.
And then you said that you left work.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, I went.
And that was around 6 p.m.
Later.
Later, when you left.
No, imagine the ban 3h30.
No, I left early. It might be earlier. Since I did not check the time at that time, but I'm presuming it to be at around 3:30 or earlier. I left.
You said you received a call from
Yes, when I reached
from
home.
Ivan Nicola.
Yes.
Yes.
He told you to come back to work.
Yes, to return to prison.
You returned to the prison.
Yes.
So tell us what happened after you returned to the prison.
Upon arriving to prison, I went straight to control because my job has to do with security, and I'm supposed to be at control for me to be able to see and be aware of what is happening in the prison.
Yeah. And but you said that at one point you did go inside in the guard room of the mail block. Did you say that? Did you say that you went into the guard room of the main block?
Yes.
Yes, but not that time.
What time was it?
Upon arriving to control, I remained there for a while. I did not went downstairs. All of a sudden, after reaching there, I went downstairs at around 7 to 7:30. I was there all this time.
So when you said you went down,
Yes, I went downstairs.
do you mean you went down to the mail block of the prison?
Là où dit on descend en bas, est-ce que vous pouvez dire ça bout côté mail bloc en bas de prison?
No.
No. It was afterwards that I entered inside.
So you went down,
Yes.
and then you went inside the mail block.
Section avant.
You
Après,
went,
repli ta, les mon péjou, les qui mon moteur là, ou péjou de ban, mettez de ban 10h, 10h du soir, à peu près.
I went to clean out those sections first, and then I went
Il passe à l'air,
inside at around 10 something. It's not the time that you refer to.
Nous pouvons essayer d'éclaircir quelque chose là. Hein? Qui date que vous pouvez causer là-haut?
ça joue que c'est un hayout.
Les 5.
That's the riot.
Ça joue que c'est un hayout depuis que je joue là.
Mais vous pouvez dire les 6.
Non, moi qui me confuse, il y a beaucoup de temps.
I am getting it confused
Okay.
because it's
Ça
been
c'est
too
les
long.
5.
Il y a depuis que ça joue à hayout là nous.
We are talking
Ça,
about
c'est
the
beaucoup
day
Juste
of the
dis-moi oui ou bien
riot.
non. Les 5. Yeah. Les 5 bonheurs, on a le couteau.
Il y a un coup de moment, yes.
Yes, I went home the 5th early that day. I went home.
Les 5 plus tard, de quelle heure ça?
The
Qui
5th
tu as
later
call
on.
avec inspecteur Ivan?
What time did you receive the call from Inspector
De
Ivan?
ban 5h kuma.
At around 5 something.
OK. Là où tu montes
Moi tu montes
prison.
prison là.
And then I went back to prison.
So now we get it clear. So it was on the 5th, not the 6th, as you were saying before.
Yes, I'm getting it confused because it's too long ago.
Anyway,
Okay.
it's just a year ago.
Just a moment.
It's just a year
Yeah,
ago.
just a moment. Sergeant, you are a sergeant, right?
Yes.
And you are responsible for security.
Security, yeah.
Yeah. So as a commission, we don't expect you to be getting confused about basic facts. Please translate.
Ça qui monsieur commissionnaire peut dire c'est que comment un 16 ans est responsable et quelque chose pareil sécurité commission pas expecté pour gagner confusion en rapport avec ben simple fait.
We don't expect you to get confused about basic facts like did you go to work on the 5th or on the 6th of December? That's basic.
Par exemple, ben tu fais des bases si tu travailles les 5 ou bien les 6.
You were summoned to come and give evidence. You knew what you were going to be asked about.
Un gars someone peut donner évidence et tu connais d'avance qui tu peux gagner demander question là.
So we expect you to not get confused about that. So when you say to us, you are confused, we wonder whether you are just confused or you are making up a story.
Alors, c'est là où peut dire confisé, commission, il peut dire ça, essayer d'imaginer si on confisé pour vrai ou bien on peut essayer de faire une histoire. No.
So we would want to give you another reminder. And this is the second time we are reminding you. Please, Sergeant, this is a very serious process that we are undertaking here.
Ça veut dire commission il souhaite pour rappeler encore ça qui tient fait ou rappel le commencement et là il pour la deuxième fois que commission pour dire ça s'il vous plaît dis ça.
So we expect you to also be serious.
Pour penser à sérieux à cause des procédures sérieuses que nous pouvons faire.
You won't easily get away with saying I got confused. If this continues, then we may have to consider that you are somehow not telling the truth before the commission, and we will have to investigate that.
À cause si il continue qui nous arrêter tout le temps à cause ou confisé pareil ou pédi nous pour besoin arrêter et décider si quelquefois ou pas peut vraiment dire la vérité dans sa commission.
And so just to clarify that it's normal that when witnesses are giving testimony they get confused about certain things. But we don't expect a person of your rank, having worked for 14 years, to be confused about whether you were at work on the 5th of December or on the 6th of December.
Il est normal que dit moun ne peut donner évidence si gagne cette confusion parler mais nous pas respecter qui est officier lo ou rang pareil qui travaille de la force pour plus que 14 ans pour confuser lo si ou travaille les 5 ou bien les 6.
So I will hand you over back to Commissioner Vidot, but please, we want you to be a bit more serious than you are right now.
S'il vous plaît, ça essayez pas quelque chose un petit peu plus sérieux.
Okay, we go back. You said that on the 6th, at some point you went down to the mail block, okay?
My lord, the date, the 6th?
The 5th, he's talking about the 5th.
Okay. On dit qu'il est 5 ou tu al en bas côté mail block à un point le temps.
Yes, mon Dieu,
Yes, I went downstairs.
And you went to the guard room.
Après the guard room,
It was afterwards that I went to the guard room, but I went downstairs.
Gate 13.
You went downstairs where? At the gate 13?
Yes.
I was there.
Devant prison, yeah.
In front of the prison, yes.
And then you went inside.
Plus tard.
Later on.
What time was that?
Bete deban ou imagine deban nivel rythmique ma cause n'a pas avec moi. Ou puis prési ban lé.
It was at around
n'a pas lé avec moi. Donc on n'a pas avec moi.
9:30. I'm just presuming the time since I did not had any watch or way to tell time with me. It's just that only after entering inside the guard room, I went back outside together with the CIs.
At no point did you go back inside?
Après, les mon fili, plita de ban disait après qui nous notre pour prendre la main pour nettoyer ça des sections bas.
Later on, at around 10, it was then that I entered inside to help out with the cleaning of these sections.
On peut imaginer, on peut présumer moi.
I'm just presuming the time.
And when you were there, you went inside. Who were present inside with you?
Le ou chalon de ki ou chi notre yon de la ba pa yon dire quel qui chi la présent avec vous.
Depuis que les officiers nous.
You are talking about officers?
Officiers, il y en a mon papa peut imaginer lequel gars qui check mon landa.
I don't really recall the officers who were present with me inside.
Mon papa peut imaginer lequel gars qui check mon landa.
I don't recall, but there was officers, but I cannot really recall.
Tu
n'as garde là seulement.
Okay.
There was
Saban garde tient bas ou contrôle ou qui tu peux donner saban garde l'ordre.
When you say
Ou bien
there
non?
were officers with you, were they under your control and were you giving them orders? No.
You don't remember, when you talk about guards or officers, do you mean prison guards or?
Prison guard.
Prison guards, okay. And who was in command of the prison guard at that point?
Lequel qui tu penses à saban garde prisonnier à ça l'état?
On peut pas imaginer lequel qui est là.
I cannot recall who it was.
À cause de mon dis mon vini, mon donne la même.
I just came
nettoyer, mon vie mon assister
to help out, to clean out and to assist them.
So you mean to say that you were there working, you can't remember one person who was there present with you?
Ça veut dire que tu peux travailler ça ou pas rappel ni di moun qui check ça zo?
Ou connaît ou s'explique à ban le temps, ça ban le temps tout dit on peut confuser. Ça ban le temps. Ça ban le temps chacun zo peut dire à côté, peut aider. Mon un qui vini mon vin aider. Mon doit ajouter plein de nettoyer.
During those times, everyone was pulling on each side, trying to help out the other, and I also just came out there to help out, to help with the cleaning.
On va début dehors, get mon collègue, puis transpirer, et appeler ta section. Bon, si mon c'est entré, mon donner coup de main, à cause ça va là doit tu nettoyer là, pour les condamner pour sortir les après tu peux gagner mettre là-dedans. Je pense que tu là doit pour gagner après.
Because I could not stand outside.
Pour imaginer dans devant tu disais comment que les tu parler avec moi. Pour imaginer à peu près à bonne les moi. Il va plus bonne, il va plus tard.
Stand outside and watch my other officers cleaning and sweating. I had to do the same on my end. And what time was that? It was at around 10. I don't really recall the time.
Qui tu peux nettoyer dans la prison?
At 10 p.m., what were you cleaning in the prison?
C'est là pour la prison. Nous, mon président, mon job, nous petits, à des sections là. Là, tu peux nettoyer. Après, ça va dire qu'il est pour tirer, pas, puis tu mets dans la section.
The two sections downstairs.
Tu peux demander.
Yes.
Qui tu passé dans la prison, qui tu bijal nettoyer ça là? 10h du soir.
What happened in prison that got you to clean out that area that particular time during the night? What happened?
Oui, c'est comme si tu as riot.
There was a riot.
How did you know there was a riot?
Qui m'a yon comme ça?
Un riot, tant qu'il condamne lui-même, il prend contrôle, qui prend contrôle de prison, tant qu'il mettait du fait, tant qu'il fait casse prison, prison, il finit perdre régulation le prisonnier.
So long as a convict or convicts start taking control of the prison or setting fire, this is when things are...
Okay. I'm not asking what is a riot. I'm saying, how did you know? Okay, let me ask you, who told you that there was a riot?
Sakiti Jiu ki chana riot.
Taki bon matin, mon a...
Who?
Moi-même, on peut connaître. Taki m'a prison, on peut connaître.
I would know Myself upon arriving at the prison.
Okay, you would know yourself upon arriving at the prison. Okay.
As the security.
Now I want
yes.
us to go back to the beginning of your testimony, which is exactly why I'm asking you this question. Who told you that there was a riot? I'm not saying what is a riot. Say who. I asked that question because when you started your testimony, you said you got to the prison to do your normal duty. Nobody told you anything.
Oui, ce qui commissionne peut demander sa question c'est à cause là tu peux donner évidence plus bonne on dit que tu viens travail sans sa jour là et qui personne pas tin jour non y a tu viens travail normal pareil tous les jours.
So you were then told to go inside to help clean out. So the impression you are creating is you were not briefed that there was anything that happened in the prison.
Et on dit que tu es allé, tu as direction pour le nettoyer, alors c'est l'impression que tu peux donner comme si tu pas tin gars mettre au courant ou personne pas tin dit ou qui t'est arrivé de prison.
So who told you?
Expliquer puis là les cas gagner comprendre.
May I explain something along that line for you commissioners to understand?
À cause je pas comprendre ça vous l'ouvrage qui pour moi. C'est ça que je peux ça
you are not understanding the
prison security.
Part of the job that relates to me. My side of the job has to do with security, and on the gate 1, I have authority to
Gate
give
7, y a pas responsabilité.
access. Gate 13 is under my responsibility.
Y a pas responsabilité.
And the gate 7 also, and the perimeter also is under my responsibility.
De bon matin, les mon vini, get en bas, mon qui prépare duty. Mon qui faire si, garde le get 13, tout quelque chose, mon qui faire si.
Morning upon arrival, I'm the one that prepares duty, everything with regards to the gate.
Morning of. So I want you to be very clear about dates and time. So when you say your story, say on this date, I did this. On this date, I did this. So that will help us to understand what you are saying.
He's generalizing his duties every day, what he does.
Yes, I think you want to tell him that. Because I don't want to interpret it. He's saying something that I think is very correct.
Ça que vous pouvez dire nous, ça y ou responsabilité tous les jours que vous pouvez dire nous là.
What you are describing is your daily responsibility? Yes.
Comme si, quand même, on peut venir bon matin là, n'a pas dit mon qui peut dire mon 16 ans, ou bien faire ça. Mon monde déjà fini quand mon l'ouvrage.
Okay.
It's like when I am coming in the morning, there's no one that
so
would
what
be.
we want to do now is this. I want you to answer the questions directly we're doing this because we are confused about your story, the three of us. Right. So what we want to do is I want to ask you questions and then you answer the question directly so that we can understand your story. Right. So we will start from here. Did you go to work on 5 December 2024?
Est-ce que tu as travaillé le 5 décembre 2024?
The
day of the riot, yes.
Did you go to work on 5 December, yes or no?
Tu as travaillé le 5 décembre, oui ou bien non?
Oui, mon là.
Yes, I was there.
What time did you go to work on 5 December?
Quelle heure que tu as travaillé ça jour?
6 heures bon matin, tu commences prison.
6 a.m. in the morning every day I reach the prison at that time.
Please. I want you to answer the question that is asked. I didn't ask you when do you go to work every day. Right? The question is, when did you go to work on 5 December? So just answer that question. So the answer is 6 a.m. on 5 December.
Le 5 décembre, 6 heures, avait dit?
Yes, 6 a.m.
Yes, 6 a.m.
So that's how I want you to answer the
6
question
o'clock.
going on. Right. Where were you around 1 p.m. on 5 December?
Après midi, le 5 décembre.
Around lunch, 1 p.m. Where were you in the prison?
Côté que tu étais dans la prison.
Mon petit tout comme si, ou petit moi, ça même jour,
You are referring to the
Son
same
aîné,
day
coup de
at 1
pocheté.
p.m.
On 5
Non,
December.
de aîné midi, coup de pocheté. Mais, moi, c'est de coup de search room même.
I was in the search room.
Where is the search room located?
Get one.
Get one.
Yeah. Good.
At the entrance of the prison.
Yeah. Some.
Okay.
Ça, mon endroit spécifique.
That
Good
is my
moment center.
specific area
The office.
Okay.
in my office.
Did you get out of that office at any point between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m.
À aucun point
on 5 December?
un après-midi à 6h du soir, est-ce que tu quittes ça à l'office ou le 5 décembre là, depuis cause de là?
Depuis qu'on sont l'autre ben là, nous.
Non, le 5 décembre
Même jour même là.
Oui, entre 1h à 6h, si tu quittes ça à l'office que tu étais là-bas.
Non, moi, les quitte prison, qui les moi quitte pas, mon petit ou. Il demande 3h, moi quitte prison.
No, the time that I left the prison, like I was saying earlier, it's at around 3 to 3:30.
You are not answering my question. I am not asking you when. Sorry. I'm not asking you when did you leave the prison. I'm saying between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. on 5 December, did you leave the search room
Entre 1h à 6h du soir,
at Get One? Did
le
you
5
leave the search
décembre
room?
là, on dit que tu es dans search room, que tu get one. Présent entre 1h à 6h, est-ce que tu quittes ça l'endroit là, sa search room, que tu étais pour aller aucun endroit de prison même?
Non.
No.
So you worked in that search room from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Ça veut dire
Non, pas de 6 p.m. 6h, moi, commence. Vous pouvez dire, moi, 6 p.m. Bon, mon pays confuse un coup là.
I am getting it confused.
Okay. So you worked until 3 p.m.
Tu travailles jusqu'à 3h, ça joue.
Yes, mon ami.
in the
I
search
left.
room.
Yes.
Yes.
You never left the search room from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Ou pas jamais jusqu'à 3h avant qu'on dit qu'on a allé là, ou pas jamais sorti là en de pour aller aucun endroit de
Non, non,
prison.
non, je me back dans le bus, mon ami.
No, I just stepped inside the bus and left.
Left.
Yes.
Then, were you called back to come to Montagne Posée on 5 December after you had left the prison?
Yes.
Who called you back?
L'inspecteur Nicolas.
So Inspector Nicola would be your boss.
Yeah, he's the one in charge of me.
Why did he call you back? What did he say you need to come back to prison for?
Et tu colles ou à cause de qui tu dis ou besoin d'une côte prison pour faire?
Il call moi, il dit montez, situation pas bon. Montez.
He told me to come up that the situation was not good.
What time did you arrive at Mont Posée?
Qu'il est que tu arrives à Montagne Posée après que tu colles?
On peut imaginer, on peut exactement, on peut imaginer dans 6h à 6h30.
I don't recall
On
exactly,
peut imaginer ça
but
bon 6h à 6h30, on peut imaginer.
at around 6 to 6:30.
Around 6 to
On
6:30.
tient les passages avec PSW dans ses mains.
I got a lift with the PSSW on the road.
That's okay. When you got to the prison at 6:30, what did you do?
Là où tu arrives côte prison 6h, 6h30 là, que tu fais?
On tient de control.
I went to the control.
And then
Après ça,
tell your story now, because
Tu
you've
t'es
been
arrivé
called
après
back
ça.
to
Okay.
prison. So now tell us the story of what you did from
Les-
6:30. Yeah.
Les maîtres de control, mon client même là. À cause pour moi, il y a un rapport, le côté niveau sécurité. Quelque chose qui peut entrer dans un rapport, bon là même là,
upon arriving to the control, I stayed there in that area for me to be able to
Prison.
receive any reports of any incoming reports about the situation itself.
So you were called to come back to prison by Inspector Ivan.
Yes.
You must have received a briefing when you went back to prison, because he can't just call you back and then you go into the search room and you continue with your work, because there's a special reason he has called you back. So he must have given you some briefing, isn't it?
Le un gan école après que un vini besoin que une donne ou certaines les formations, une bref ou un peu la situation à cause pas pour l'école ou comme ça même pour venir pour non rien non.
Quoi continue?
Can I
If the answer is yes, what briefing did you receive?
Si oui, qui l'information que tu donnes ou l'école pour dire venir.
Il dit mon prison. Les mon arrive prison. Mon de control après qu'il expectait venir.
He told me to come up to the prison, and upon arriving to the prison, I went in the control. It was afterwards that the inspector came to see me.
So, sorry, when you came up, you just went
straight to the control
without trying to find Inspector Nicolas to ask him what was the situation at the prison?
No, but I know this. Je connais l'inspecteur Nicolas, il vient de control. C'est ça qu'on a de control. Après qu'il vient.
I know that Inspector Nicola would come
Pour
to the control area for him to speak to me, so that's why I went there.
Okay.
I went there.
Did he come?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
Il y a une situation pas bon bas. Il y a une radio qu'on donne pas volter.
He told me that the situation downstairs was not that good, that there is a riot, and that the inmates were revolting.
What time did he say the riot began?
Qui est qui dit ça riot a commencé? He told me, but I cannot recall now.
Okay, that's fair. So those kind of details, it's normal that you can't recall.
But he told me, I know that he would have told me.
So after the briefing, did he ask you to carry out any duties?
Après qu'il te donne nous l'information, il faut un peu le chercher, est-ce qu'il te donne aucun nouveau pour faire?
No.
No.
Well, so he just told you that things are not. There's a riot in the mail block, and he did not ask you to carry out any duties.
No, he just told me to hold my position for the moment, to remain where I was.
The control.
What does
in
that
the
mean?
Control. Qui veut dire ça comme si?
Comme si je restais là même dans le control. À cause de control, ordinairement, on explique bien le control. À comment tenir le control. À cause de l'information qui entre. Le control est étranger. C'est ça qui monte là. L'information qui peut entrer. Pour les monter là.
He told me to just remain there in the control room because there are several information that we receive, and there are mostly foreigners in the control, so I had to remain there to receive any information that was coming in. Because it falls under the security department, the control.
Yeah.
So he gave you duties.
Avait dit ça ban devoir que tu donnes pour
Il a
faire.
dit si je monter là même.
Yes, just to remain there.
Tant que je monter là même, mon connais mon duty bon.
As long as he informed me to remain where I was, and I know my duties, so I know what I have to do by remaining there.
No, Sergeant. You said. Remember, I'm doing this to help you tell your story, right? Because we want to understand how your story went. Eh? So you were called back to prison by your boss, Inspector
Yes.
Ivan, and he said there's a riot. He gave you a briefing.
Yes.
Right. And then I asked you, did he give you any duties? You said no. Right. But then right now you are saying he gave you duties.
Non, not l'inspecteur pendant mon duty, si je resté là. Cela veut dire il pas un duty. Si je monte là.
He did not give me any duties. He just told me to remain there. That is not giving out duties, just only telling me to remain, stay there. To stay there.
To sit in the doing what?
Pour faire quoi?
Nothing still.
Nothing, just remain there.
So this man called you back to prison to just sit in the office. Is that what you are telling us?
No.
No.
Then, but that's what you are saying. You said he didn't give you any. Sorry, you are saying he did not give you any duties. He called you. He said just sit in the control room, right?
Pour les moments, il dit moi rester là.
For the moment, he told me to remain there.
Il pas accepté qui m'ont passé dans escalier fini pour les moments à cause de l'italian bon briefing quand bon meeting pour y aller.
It's not
Après
that
après il brief moi li.
I would have stayed seated there throughout until the end. He had his other duties, other briefings to do, other meetings to attend, and then afterwards he would come back to me.
So did he come back to you?
Oui, à cause moi.
Yes.
What did
sécurité.
he? Okay.
Là, tu tournes qui tu dis?
Moment. Là il tourne. Là il dit moi get comme si get bon les parler, get comme si le fil.
He told me to watch over the Nepali officer and watch over the field area outside. Because this is our duty.
So when he came back, I just want to make sure we are understanding what you are saying. So when he came back, he gave you the instruction to watch over the Nepalese
field
and to watch over the field. Can you clarify what you mean by Nepalese? Who are the Nepalese?
Lesquels ça Nepali là, on peut dire Nepali.
Nepali, il y a des équipes le Gate 7, Gate 13, les autres là. Quand on dit monde dehors, bonne facilité quand on dit monde dehors. Les autres qui quand on dit monde dehors. Par exemple, mon un qui mon là, les autres qui ça contact avec moi. Tout quelque chose qui peut arriver, je besoin contact avec moi. Si un dit on peut venir dehors, je besoin contact avec moi.
These are the Nepali officers that are posted at Gate 7 and 13, and they control the people from outside, and I was there as their point of contact. Anything, they would liaise with me.
So you were instructed to watch over them. Is it to help them regulate the movement into the prison, or is it to monitor what they are doing and supervise them?
C'est pour assister les autres qui peuvent faire les autres l'ouvrage, ou bien c'est pour superviser les autres guetter qui autres peuvent faire, si les autres peuvent faire bien.
Pour monitor.
For monitoring.
Pour que ça peut qu'une bonne situation qui arrive, pour ça mon cas dit avec.
There are any situation that arise for me to handle it and deal with it.
Okay. So we can say at this point you are supervising them.
Avec dit à ça point là où tu peux supervise les autres là. Yes.
Okay. And then another instruction was for you to watch over the field.
Après l'autre restriction tu peux get ça field.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What exactly were you supposed to be watching?
Qui exactement tu supposé
field.
peut getter côté ça la plaine là.
Peut getter nous là peut que si quelqu'un ben dit mon pas sauver l'autre côté. Si les mon là mon monter le Gate 7 mon a un contact radio avec moi. Qui a contact avec tout bon towers partout. Bon monter là mon. Pour ça mon peut discuter par radio.
So I was posted at Gate 7 and I had a radio with me that allowed me to get in touch with all of the towers, and I was there to see if there were not anyone that was trying to make a run for it and escape through the other side.
Okay. So you were there so the instruction was for you to watch and see if anyone is escaping from prison.
Alors souci là pour ça bout côté ça la plaine là pour guetter si personne pas essayer sauver de prison.
Yes,
Yes, that's what I said. Yes.
Okay. And then tell us, you are now watching the field, you are monitoring the Nepalese officers, and then what happens?
Après bon monter là mon, est-ce que bon c'était après mon descendre le Gate 13.
I remained there until at around 7 something, and then afterwards
7
descended
PM?
to Gate 13.
7:30
like I was saying.
Yeah, I
I
just want us
descended to Gate 13.
I just want us to understand the timelines. So when you say 7, do you mean 7 p.m. on 5 December?
Night.
7 at night on 5 December?
Yes.
Okay. You were there until 7 p.m. and then?
C'est un management aussi là, qui n'a pas été dans même. On tient là, CIA adrien, CIA Jerry, comme si un CIA qui là.
I was there, and then the management also came, and there was a couple of other CI with me there present. They remained there, and we remained there for some time.
But I think he named some names.
CI, ça CI qu'on nomme sous cas c'est mentionné ici.
CIA adrien, CIA adrien. Mais tu n'as CIA Jerry là.
CI Adrien was next to me, as well as CI Jerry, who was there present. Where were they at that time?
Look at the get 13 ni. So get we dia dah compound get 13.
They were in the compound in the area outside where the gate 13 is, but not next to the gate 13 in that area, the vicinity outside.
So this is CI Jerry.
CI Jerry avec Adriana.
Yes.
Okay.
Jerry and Adrian, yes.
Then you said you saw the prison management coming in. Who are you referring to when you say prison management?
Yes, they were there. Lesquels autres saban management prison que vous pouvez causer là?
Sa que ça studio CI Jerry là. Après que ça maintenance CI Adrien. Là. Puis encore les autres là.
They were the one in charge of custodial, which was CI Jerry, and then the one in charge of Adrien, you sais quoi?
Maintenance.
Maintenance, Adrien, in charge of maintenance.
Okay, then go on. You saw them.
Une fois autre après?
Après mon là. Après ban 8h, mon attendait.
And then I was there, and then I entered inside at around 8 something.
No, hold. Because we are. Remember, you are in this guard room. You have 2 instructions: watch over the field, watch over the Nepalese guards. Right? You see the prison management. How are you now moving from? So who told you to move out of the guard room? Because you are now saying I moved inside. Who told you to move from the guard room? Because you said you had been instructed to stay there and watch. So who has now instructed you to move from gate 7?
Who tell you move?
On dit que uchi dit avec sa inspecteur Nicolas pour rester get ban Nepalais après get la plaine. Nous imaginer ça. Mais là de quelques petits jours pour retourner en dedans cause dit après ça couchi fini là uchi retourner en dedans. You are not understanding.
7.
Yes.
De quelques petits jours so tu could get 7 pour descendre côté main block.
Get 13 is still mon command. Is still mon si mon sorti lo get 7, mon pas lo get 13, is still mon qui get
13. The question was who directed you to go from the where you were to the mail block, and the answer was that get 7 and get 13 is under my responsibility, so I would be the one to.
So you are moving within the area you have been instructed to. Okay, then tell us. Then what comes next?
Mon là, get 13. Après ban 8h, ban 8h à 8h30. Problème ça ban l'air cause si n'a pas monté que moi. On se peut pas résumer.
So I was there until at around 8 to 8:30, but since I did not have the watch or way to tell time with me, I presume that it was at around that time.
Ban le temps qui mon là dio, comme si garde une fille qui m'a besoin d'à cause je peux aller mais je peux cliban comme si codon avec garde comme si je peux comme si bébé prend position comme si pour ça codon est pour ça là pour ça le garde là il commence vite là lui commence à pas dire mon c'est pas garde qui peut entrer avec l'agence scientifique tu peux entrer. So
translate, please.
I just remained there for a while until I saw the officers along with the inmates started to move inside of the prison area, and the area at the guard room where I was started to become empty until there was only the officers entering as well as the people from the fire station that came as well to assist.
I think we want you to re-explain that because it's not clear.
Just pour expliquer ça petit bout là cause c'est pas trop clair.
And I don't know if it's clear to you, if it's a question of language, but it's not clear to me.
You can ask again.
Yeah.
He explains.
Sure. So you are still watching the field and watching the Nepalese. And this is 8:30 p.m. You said you don't have the exact time. That's fine. Can you tell us a bit clearly what you saw, this what you are describing now, the officers moving in, just tell us a bit clearly, who did you see moving from where to where?
This je nou un petit peu clair là, les outils là, jusqu'à de rythme pas you dit, lesquels que tu vois peut bouger par le côté.
Moi, comme si garde, puis c'est la lit pointerie.
I saw
Les
the,
moi alors, la lit.
So
the
let's
officers
slowly
struggling
let him,
to enter inside.
officers struggling to enter. Which officers?
PSW.
PSW.
Yeah.
Right? Struggling to enter inside what?
Inside the prison.
The male block.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why were they struggling if you said that the prisoners had gone up? You said that they were not on the ground floor, the prisoners had gone up. So why were they struggling to get in? Why were they struggling to get in?
Ça la bande disait qui me montait qui me appelé monter là nous plus bonheur là nous ne retourne pas derrière là nous.
The part about the prisoners going up, this is later on at around 10 something. Now we are a bit earlier.
Okay.
Nous ne retourne pas derrière nous. Ça est le premier que nous n'avons pas bonheur qui me monter là.
This was with regards to the first
Là nous recommencer là.
instance
Après,
when
nous
I reached the 10 p.m. mark, and
Because someone bonheur qui les mon là dah ban
but since I started over to give evidence, now I am reaching
Saban
the
lita ki le mo peju ki le mo na lo 13. Superlita do mo pe de ban 8 ki mon buzo gado mo.
at around
Mon la.
8:30.
Pourquoi le mo cause o papa i le ban le kuma la.
That's when I moved to the guard room, and I was in the area that I had described earlier.
Voilà
I had
pistu
not
ki
yet
sa mo is
moved
gado mo tu get ta
to
cause.
the upper area at that
Get
time,
13 avec gado pa loin.
because Gate 13 and the guard room were not far
Not
away
far.
from each other.
I'm not talking about proceeding up on the upper floor of the prison. You said that the officers were trying to force themselves inside. So, and you said that the prisoners had moved on the upper floor. So, why were they forcing themselves to go inside? There was nobody stopping them from going inside.
Saban le ki mo pe saban le la. Gade pe se condamné pe pes gade entrer.
The time that I'm referring to, the inmates were preventing the officers to enter inside.
Condamné pe le mo la montagne stop là pe casser. Pas qu'on équipe casser.
I only heard hitting, things breaking inside.
Pour moi c'est pas no pe passer. Qu'on il pas facile pour
Rocks were flying by. It was not easy for you to.
Okay. I think we will return to his question. Let's go back to so 8:30 p.m. The officers you are saying the officers are struggling to get into the prison.
8:30.
The male section, yes, 8:30. Did you see why they were struggling?
Tu trouvé à cause qu'ils ont typé c'est la lit pour qu'abattre.
Oui, c'est là pour le gars la clé prison mais tout la clé mais là tu fais pas quand prison.
Because they were struggling to get the keys to the gates to the prison because the inmates had already taken control of the prison.
So, take again? Come on.
They were struggling to get the keys to the gates of the prison because the inmates had already taken control of the prison.
Okay, and then?
And they had locked all the gates.
You are sitting in the guard room. From the guard room, are you able to see that prisoners have taken all the keys, they've locked?
No,
No, because the key, they had already taken the key from earlier on. Ever since Adegon explained that they had taken the key, they had already taken everything.
So you were told by Radigon, Chief Inspector Radigon, that
l'information que mon sécurité, l'information automatiquement, mon briefing, c'est ça qui est mon de contrôle, un rapport qui peut entrer.
No, since
Pour gagner qui la prison qui gagne comme si ben rapport qui peut pour gagner comme sécurité pour bien de l'information qui n'arrive prison qui n'arrive
pertains to security, and I was the one receiving information reports that were coming in, so I was responsible for getting these informations, and I was made aware that way.
Okay. So okay, hold on. So now you're because earlier on you said the instructions from your boss was stay here in the guard room, watch over the field in the
control.
Yes, in the control room. Watch over the field and watch over the Nepalese officers, right? But now you are also telling us that you are also now receiving regular updates of what is happening in the
No, but you
inside.
see, you are get 13. You see inside.
So I will ask you again my question. From where you were you able to see the prisoners taking the keys and locking, or is this something you were told that it had happened?
No. The information I get.
Information I received. It.
Then let's continue with the story. The officers are struggling to get in, and then what happens? What do you see after that?
When I was there at the gate, I saw that the PSSW had returned, and they had come out from where they were. Since I was there outside, I heard them saying that they need to seek more assistance because they are unable to enter inside.
They were coming from where?
They
came out. They say they came out. They say they came out.
These were the times that I was at They were still on the downstairs, struggling to enter inside. They had not yet entered inside. It was a bit earlier. Because of the information that was coming in, and since I had a radio with me, even though I was not able to see personally what was happening, information was coming in from the radio about the situation.
I'm a bit confused about your testimony. Where were the PSSW? You said they were coming out.
They were coming out from inside. Coming outside.
Yeah, that's confusing.
No, ça apparaît. Non, ça ne va pas d'entrer.
Mais vous faites dire.
Nous passons cause là nous.
We had
Parce que le cause PSW d'entrer. Les moments final au get 13 après qui mon azote peut sortir. So peut la lit pour entrer une sortie, mon temps peut dire, zo bien plus
Upon arriving at gate 13, that's when I saw the PSSW struggling to enter inside, and then afterwards they came out stating that they were unable to enter inside and needed assistance.
Actually, you did. You said that they were coming out from the prison.
Yes, oui.
Yeah.
Yes, I said that coming out.
But it's not that's not dissimilar from what he was telling you.
So peut sortir. Après le monde là, après le ban après
Just a moment. Okay. So the officers are struggling to get in.
Yeah.
And then.
Comme si on peut expliquer quelque chose que les gens là qui m'ont trouvé.
I'm explaining things that when I was.
Les mon peut expliquer autres. Les puis aller même, mon peut dire comme si ban l'événement qui les moments là puis les puis aller
That I saw, and as and when the events were unfolding, time also was passing by. So these are the things that I witnessed. So as I am explaining, time is passing by also.
Continue.
Seulement là, moi pas participer là,
but I did not participate in these things that the SSU was doing, even though.
No, but nobody said you participated. Why are you? Why,
But
sorry,
I was there.
Sorry. Why do you feel that you have to clarify that you did not participate? Did anyone here say you participated?
Non, comme si mon peut expliquer autres, comme si mon panal un deck autres.
I'm just
explaining
that I did not go with them inside. I was outside observing the situation from outside.
So remember,
from outside, yeah.
Okay, so remember to answer the questions.
Yes.
Nobody asked you that question here. That did you participate? Did you not? So nobody asked you that question. So you are telling us the story, and we are doing this because we're trying to get your story. We tried, I think Commissioner tried to ask you questions to enable you to just tell us the story, but the story was not coming out. So that's why now we are doing this, so that you can tell us in detail what happened, right? So now you see the PSSW officers struggling to get in. They come back to you, they say, we are struggling to get into the mail block. And then what? What happens after that? What do you see after that? Or what do you hear after that?
Yes, sir. PSW, let's come out. Zot pas dit mon zot. Montant zot, les autres pas bon, zot bien plus même pas pour entrer.
PSW, when they came out, they did not inform me. I just heard them as they were passing by next to me that they needed more manpower for them to enter inside.
Okay. Next.
I remained there and did not go inside, but I heard hitting like as if they were breaking things inside.
How many PSSW officers are you talking about when they came out?
Fair
idea. I don't want exactly how much there were. I just want a brief number.
I would not recall at around 9 something. 9. They tried to go inside, but they had to come out afterwards.
Were there other PSSW officers within the vicinity of the mail block or the prison at that time?
Yeah.
Yes.
How many of them?
Tiens encore les autres officiers PSSW à part qui saboute quand on dit quand on oiseau, tiens encore les autres qui tirent de prison, côté prison. I only saw. Outside, yes.
Outside,
over there at the top at the administration, there were others, PSSW officer at the administration, but I'm referring to the time that I was there.
Exactly what. Sorry, you finished? Exactly what I was asking you. Within the vicinity of the prison, okay, how many approximately other PSSW officers were present at the prison?
Dans environ prison, comme si pas nécessairement en dedans, mais partout, en dehors, dans environ qui quantité à peu près total à peu près ou quoi?
Pas imaginer combien. À cause, on peut expliquer à cause les tu fais briefing là, mon parti là moi. À cause les tu fais, les moments vini. Les moments vini. Ça bandit mon des affaires là autres. Briefing tu gagne fait autres, mon parti là les tu fais briefing.
I would not recall exactly the amount because I was not there while the briefing was being conducted, but they were there and they were moving around everywhere and they were. There were some of them, but I cannot recall the exact sum.
À peu près
8 nous.
À peu près 8 nous. OK. Ça joue soit combien de temps?
Ça on peut dire, on peut imaginer à peu près, ça on peut expliquer là, on peut à peu près pas avec Fatina 15 août. À peu près, moi tu capable encore plus encore, il capable petit guide tout.
Just to give an estimate, it's about 15 to 18. There could have been more, but an estimation of what I saw.
And you say that you saw about 8 or so PSSW officers coming out, but you are not able. You said you are not able to tell us how many of them were still inside. So that means that they would have been able to get access to the interior of the mill block.
Le tin demando lo saban PSSW ka tite ki chana unji ki ou pa kon lo saban ki chi pou an dan. Ça veut dire à un point zo tin kap ga yak se potre an dan the mill block PSSW.
No, under the mill block, the guard room. Comment?
In the
guard room, sur moment. On pourquoi là dedans pour connaître côté saban di moun. Comment on pourquoi ils vont dedans pour connaître exactement.
I had not yet entered inside for me to know exactly. I was only there outside.
Quand même saban di moun était en dedans.
Even if they entered inside, I would not see where they were inside. It was later on that I entered inside.
That's fine. Let's go back to the story. Let's get the story first. It's a painful exercise, but let's do it. Let's get the story first. So we are at 8:30 p.m. The officers are struggling to get in. And tell us more. What did you see? What did you hear after that?
Ça veut dire 8h30 là nous arrivons à peu près par une dit PSSW puis là il porte en dedans. Après ça il dit nous qu'on observe qui n'arrivait.
Oui mon maso parce que souvent abale pas du de ban 9h30 là qui mon vinn de regarder là mon on comme si mon quand entrer en dedans est-ce que ça bout là après mon tenir là même.
Yes, and then at around 9:30 that's when I was able to enter inside the guard room. And I remained there.
So they give him a chance to, because I can only hear what you are saying when you allow him to translate. Yeah. Can we take that again?
Around 9 to 9:30, that's when I was able to gain access to the guard room, but I remained in that area.
So 9 to 9:30, you are now moving away from your control room. You are now moving to the guard room.
Yeah.
Where is the guard room located?
Mill block.
So 9 o'clock, you are now moving into the Mel Block's prison section.
Yeah.
Who instructed you to leave your control room? Who instructed you to leave the control room? I'm asking the question because you have specific instructions to be in the control room, watch over the field, supervise the Nepalese officers at Gate 7. So now you are saying you are moving into the male prison block section, to the guard room. So who has instructed you to move?
For Gate 13, for Gate 13 palanda, person.
From Gate 13 to inside, no one.
You say 9 o'clock. That's when you moved to the guard room.
Yes.
And the guard room is inside the male block prison section. I am saying who instructed you to move into the male block prison section?
Prison.
Lesquels tu donnes une restriction pour à l'entrée de the male block?
Non. Pourquoi dans le bloc moi?
Non.
On a the guard room.
Guard room is the mill block.
Oui, dans le bloc, moi pas.
Okay.
Personne pas dans mon lot, non.
No one gave instruction.
So you just moved?
Yes.
Yes.
So who is now going to watch over the field and the Nepalese when you move?
I have supervisor. Caporal.
Okay. I'm going to ask you again, because this is important for what is coming, right? So you decided by yourself that I'm now going to move from the control room to the guard room. So you have now decided to move into the prison, into the male block.
Yeah.
And nobody gave you an instruction to do that?
No.
Why did you have to move? Why did you take that decision? Why did you make the decision to move into the male block?
Because we have security.
Huh?
Because they have security. À cause qualité?
Comment security?
Because I am the security. Or the one responsible for security, is what he's trying to say.
You are the one responsible for security.
Yeah, so you have the one with the top.
You are the one at the top.
No, you are the keep allowed.
is one above me.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, can we answer that again?
I am the one responsible for security, but I have someone that's above me.
So you have someone above you who is Ivan, Inspector Ivan.
Is Ivan, yeah.
Yes.
So Inspector Ivan would be the one to give you instructions.
L'équipe vous donne une restriction, veut dire?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
this time
Oui, so
around,
il y a un bout qui m'a fait. Comme si l'autre qui peut donner, qui m'a pas. Vraiment, comme si bon qui m'a pas capable faire.
There are areas where I would be the one responsible for giving the order, but there are other areas where he would be the one with the authority to give
so
out
you
orders.
decide to move into the guard room, into the
Check
mail
that-
block section.
To get
And then,
pour que situation dans comme si était pas situation dans garde room.
To watch over the situation in the guard room.
go on.
Bon. Après mon retourner encore. Mon
Then
retourner encore là.
I returned outside again.
Bon, après les mon adéo mon ça mal qu'est-ce qu'on m'a disait sur les section après mon entrée va donner la main pour les ça des sections bas.
And then while I was there it was later on, at around 10 something, that's when I went out to help with the cleaning out of these sections.
Yeah.
Just hold on. Sorry. Do you need some water?
No, it's okay.
You're good. Okay, no, I'm just checking. Okay.
Mon a plutôt section. Les nous fait la section, t'es dans même prise moi pio cadence.
I was there cleaning out these sections, and that's when I saw P.O. Cadas after finishing with the cleaning.
Okay, so you went into the guard room, which is inside the mail block section.
Yes.
Then you left.
Yes.
Or
I come outside.
You came outside to go away.
To stay we get 13 there.
To go back to where you were
13,
originally,
yeah.
right?
Just go to the inside to check, you know.
You just wanted to check, and then
just
you
to check with the guard room, and I
Okay.
returned back.
Then
to
you are
outside.
back to get 13, your control room,
outside.
and then what happens?
And I stayed there, and I see the officer to clean that to say, because with the guard room inside. The guard room en bas, il y a des sections. Comme si en bas. Ça des
Downstairs in the
sections en
guard
bas.
room, there are
Pour les
two
nettoyer.
sections.
Sorry, you are going simultaneously, so I can't
sorry.
hear what you're saying. Yeah.
In the guard room downstairs, there are two sections for us to clean out. Allez, monsieur?
Pour ça, nous allons là, on a dans une lame. On ne peut pas s'aider, on a dans une coup de main.
And I went
Pour
there
nettoyer.
to help them with the cleaning of that particular section. I would not remain outside. I went to help them out.
Souvent, par exemple, sur le moment où si y a une statue là, par exemple, imagine, si y a une statue là,
It's now that I
si y a
am
une statue là, sur le moment, si y a une statue là, ça va l'état.
remembering
Et tu là, il y a aussi dans l'homme nettoyer, tu l'as nettoyé.
that CINista was also there present, and he was helping out with the cleaning.
What were you cleaning?
Nous pouvons nettoyer le petit ban débris en dedans, ban rousse, ban shower qui est cassé, comme si après une ban bout de ferraille, ban bout de bois, le petit pour nettoyer l'endroit.
We were removing debris in general, like there were rocks, there were faucets in the showers that was broken, pieces of metal, pieces of wood, so we were sort of cleaning the area, the place.
Okay, and then continue. You are cleaning, and then
Yes.
what happened?
Là, nous faisons après nous monter là même, bas même. Après moi, puis au cadence fini.
I remained down there where I was, and then afterwards I saw
Je dis
P.O.
comment
Cadas.
moi faire guetter quoi.
Just allow one to finish translating. Yeah.
P.O. Cadas coming, and I told him, allez,
Je me dis cadence, moi faire guetter quoi là moi.
I said, Cadence, that I will go and check upstairs
Si il était quoi bon arrivé.
to see where
Si
they
il était
have
quoi
reached,
quoi garde arrivé comme si.
where the officers had reached.
Vous nous aller,
When you say upstairs, you mean the prisoners section,
Là où dit, là où peut dire section côté prison y était.
Yes.
the one that is up there. So
Yes.
you went back into the prison section,
moteur là.
and you went up.
We go up. Parce que là il volait, bon pas arrivé sur under cause de choco. On a juste là corridor, un petit peu de corridor. Là on monter moi mon Ivan Nicolas.
I did not enter
Il peut en piller le bord, il peut get guard.
completely inside. I reached in the corridor and I saw Ivan leaning against a wall and watching or looking over the area where the officers were.
Si il peut en piller, il peut get.
Just looking.
Monter un coup. Puis moi là, après, pas tarder, moi juste faire des à cause la fumée, mon gars sinus. Là, il avait cadence au corps là, mon dernier cadence moi.
So as I got there, I saw him. I just told him that I was coming to check things out, but I did not take long. As I suffered from sinusitis, I had to make a detour and go back, and I went back with CI Cadas.
So the only thing you saw when you went to the upstairs section is you only saw Inspector Ivan standing.
Yeah, standing.
That's the only thing you saw.
Yeah.
Did you see the inmates?
It's the inmates?
Tu vois, bonne prison, il n'y a pas de Ivan?
No.
No.
Gars, tu vois, inmates, tout taille de coin à base. Gars, tu sais, entrer, puis ouvert barreau pour entrer.
The inmates had ran into a corner and the officers were trying to enter inside.
Quand les moments monter là, on pense qu'il y a accès qui à cause inmates tout fit taille, corridor type au pli.
When I got up, the inmates had already ran away. The corridor was clean.
Okay, next, and then
you
come out.
Moi ça la fumée puis bague on redescend. So moi ça pas ça là, pas match plus lota ça. À cause les bon pas imagine les bonne les. Qui bon. Puis petit plus tard. Puis ça les mon descendre. Mon sorti net de on a l'administration, tu na ban garde puis autre uniforme. So c'est mis tricot tout puis tricot. Puis ça on a le store, on a uniforme pour dans zout.
So later on, I told Cadence that the smoke was bothering me, and that's when we went downstairs, and I saw that the officers was at the administration office. They were asking for shirts because their shirts had been torn apart.
Okay.
And I went to the côté salon de à côté na road tricot.
Administration.
And I went to get them a fresh pair of shirts.
What time
and
is
I
this
never
now?
went inside the prison again. It was late. Early morning.
Say late, early morning, what? Yeah, around about what time?
1 to 2 a.m. But I cannot recall exactly when the time was.
Okay. Then what happens next?
I did not go back inside the prison.
Après, c'est quelque chose qui m'a fait. On a eu 4 ans le store, 4 ans. On peut pas 4 ans. Au site le côté sécurité, on peut pas 4 ans pour mettre paré avec la scène à côté tout bas aussi figa pas pas. C'est cassé, l'information qui m'ont gagné. Juste pour mettre là qu'il est après pour mettre bonne prison en dedans. Ça tombe le côté mes blocs, pour faire autres bouts, moi je m'en tirer mon donne 4 ans.
And then I had to locate a few padlocks to place on the gate after the prisoners had been locked inside. But this is under the responsibility of security to do that part. I just prepared the padlocks and placed it there for them.
Okay, and then?
And I did not go back inside again. I remained at the administration.
Okay, and then?
And then I was there the next day. I came and then I left. I left later on.
So that means you left on the 6th?
Non, ça, le lendemain, la coupe dit les 6. Non, les 6. Yes, the 6th, I came towards the afternoon, and then I left, but don't recall the time. When I came, I saw the officers removing debris. Removing debris.
So you went back to the control room. You were there, and then what happens after that?
Which is
the point where he was asking you don't remember the time, but what happened? What is the one thing that happens after that? Because remember, we want you to tell the story of what you saw until the time you left the prison. That's what we are trying to get from you.
There were the officers there, they were sitting, eating, as well as the people from the fire agency.
So now fire is involved.
There's a part that I did not say.
Okay.
This part I omitted, it's been a while, a long time. The
Okay, it's fine.
army officers was there present. This part I did not speak about at all, but the army officers was there.
Around what time did you
Just the army.
I cannot recall the time.
Was it after you've left the prison?
When I went upstairs, I saw the army officers, but cannot recall the time that they arrived there.
Do you know which unit of the army these
No,
officers were from?
No, I cannot recall.
So I asked you, when I asked you when you went, because now the story is... So when you went upstairs, so now let's go back to your testimony. You went upstairs in the prison section. I asked you, what did you see? You said you saw Inspector Ivan.
Yeah.
I said, did you see the they had gone, right. What else did you see? Nothing. So now you are saying you also saw the army officers. Is that the time where you saw the army officers?
Yes,
Okay.
it's only that part that I omitted
What were they
to
doing?
talk about.
What were they doing?
How can I explain this? Upon arriving up there, they had locked the gate from inside.
The army.
The army kitchen lock
No,
No, the convicts.
The question is what you saw the army. What were they doing? I asked you the same question. You said you
Yes.
saw Inspector Ivan. What was he doing? You said he was standing, right?
Yeah.
So you answered that one.
Yes.
So we are asking you, because you are the one who said, oh, I forgot something.
Yeah.
I forgot to
Yes.
tell you something. I also saw the army.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, what were they doing?
They were struggling, fighting to get the gate to open.
Okay.
They were getting difficulty to
Sa
get close to that
diesel
gate
floor.
because the convicts were throwing rocks.
And I asked him, what gate is he referring to?
Sa bawo kote?
Deuxième floor.
The
Quelqu'un
gate
barreau,
upstairs
barré.
on the
So
second
we are back
floor,
to-
there's a large gate.
Yeah, we are back to that era again where the story becomes inconsistent. You said you went up there. You saw Inspector Ivan.
Yes.
He was standing. Did you see? I asked you, did you see the prisoners? You said, no. Can you hold? You said, I didn't really see them. They were in the corner. They went into the corner, right? Then you said you then left because you have sinuses. There was smoke. Then you said later on, but there's something I forgot to tell you. The army was also upstairs, right? Said, okay. So let's go back to the scene upstairs. Tell us, what was the army doing? They were struggling to open the...
Yes.
So now you are introducing a new piece of evidence, which is that you also saw the prisoners throwing stones. But earlier you said the prisoners were in the corner. Do you see what we're... I am not saying you are not telling the truth, but I'm saying, do you see the inconsistency in your story, which makes it difficult to follow and understand what you are saying? And there's a reason why I'm going later on, the commissioners will tell you later on why it's very important for you, especially you, to give a story that is coherent. But for now, do you see the incoherence that I'm talking about.
Vous pouvez comprendre ça, quelque chose que vous pouvez dire pas trop consistant avec camarade à cause pas vraiment dans l'ordre. Premièrement, tu dis qu'il ban prisonnier tu dans un coin, après on dit qu'il est ban là mais tu peux essayer entrer, tu peux envoyer au c'est mon dit avant ça tu dans un coin.
Pourquoi explique ça plus bien?
Can I explain that part properly?
Before you explain, do you see the inconsistencies that the concern that we have? Do you see it?
Vous voyez ça concerne qui commission y en a ban bout de l'évidence qui pas consistant.
If you don't see it, you can say, no, I don't see it, it's fine. Then we can continue for you to explain. If you can understand that, yeah, I think there are inconsistencies in what I'm saying, that's fine, then we continue. So the question is, do you see the inconsistencies?
Vous voyez que c'était quelque chose que vous pouvez dire pas consistant ou bien ou aïe ok.
Non, moi, compétition, à cause de ça, tout le monde oublié. Parce qu'on peut retourner là, moi, explique ça.
I see that the evidence I'm giving is okay. It's just that part that I omitted, and I'm returning to that part now to explain it better.
Okay, but for the record, I want yes or no. Did you earlier on tell us that when you went upstairs, you saw Inspector Ivan? Did you yes or no?
Yes.
Did you also tell us that you saw? Did I ask you about whether you saw the prisoners or not?
Prisoner
yes or no?
Different.
Yes or no?
I see the prisoner there.
No, did I ask you earlier?
Yes,
on?
I see the prisoner.
Did I ask you earlier on whether you saw prisoners or not? Did I ask you?
Avant ça, tu demandes si tu ne vois prisonnier ou bien non?
I asked.
Yes.
I asked you the question.
Yes.
Did your answer to that question?
Yes, I
was
told
your
you.
answer to that question that the prisoners were begged in a corner?
Yeah.
Is that what you told
Yes.
us? All right. Am I correct that at that point you didn't tell us that the prisoners were throwing rocks?
Est-ce qu'il est correct qu'il a dit que prisonnier tu dans
Yes or no?
pas dit pour dire tu peux avoir. Yes, I did not say.
No, I'm not asking you to explain at this point. I just want us to agree on what way we are differing.
No.
Yes or no?
No, I never said the part about throwing rocks.
So let's take it again. Is it true that you told us earlier on that the prisoners were backed in a corner?
Yes.
Right. Is it true that you did not tell us that they were throwing stones?
Est-ce qu'il voit qu'il a dit qu'ils ont tiré dans le coin là-bas par en bas ou patine dit ça bout de côté tu peux avoir rose?
Non, moi pas dit moi. C'est ça moi dit que moi une question que moi oublié moi explique moi redit là.
No, I did not say that's
No,
why.
that's fine.
I'm excusing myself.
So that's fine. So if your answers are yes, right? Then there are inconsistencies in the versions that you are giving in your story. And we want you to avoid that. That's all I'm trying to say. And perhaps maybe it is time to let him know that there are serious allegations that have been made against you by some of the witnesses who have come forward. And what we are doing by asking you these questions is to test some of those allegations. And the commissioners are going to put those allegations to you later on, but they can't put those allegations to you to respond before you have told us the story. But the problem is this now. Your story is not consistent. So that works against you. So what we are trying to do here is to help you and say, Sergeant, try to make your story coherent so that an unfavorable interpretation is not made against you. Please translate that for him to understand.
Il peut dire que il y en a une allégation sérieuse qui va faire compte pas bon témoin qui donne évidence dans sa commission avant ça et la commission peut donner au sens pour dire ouverture dire aux histoires et c'est le besoin faire c'est que ça peut dire consistant et qui suivent dans l'ordre avec camarades pas bonne différentes informations qu'on peut dire à cause après ça bonne sa commission pour demander en rapport avec sa bonne allégation pour gagner au sens pour dire ouverture mais c'est moi autres pas capable faire les temps qu'on pas raconte bien même qui n'arrivait comme si dans l'ordre qui n'arrivait.
Okay, so now let's go back to the story because we are still trying to get your story. all these questions I'm asking, I'm not supposed to be asking you. We want your story. So now, this is you wanted to revise your earlier statement and say, when you went up there, you saw the army trying to get in, but the gate was locked. Then you now also say you saw the prisoners throwing stones. I want to ask you again, what is Inspector Ivan doing at that time when
he's standing?
He's still standing.
Mm-hmm.
So there are stones being thrown, and he's just standing.
No, he's far away stone.
He is far away. How far from the stones?
How many meters? Distance.
Quite a distance.
À cause qu'il arrive, saute dans saute.
Okay, that's fine. Let's continue. So now you come down, or before you come down from the upper section, is there anything else you saw that you may have forgotten to tell us earlier on?
When I came back?
No, when you were up in the upper section.
Il y a après qu'on dit aussi pas gagner voyer les autres dans coin il y en a quelque chose qui peut être tout oublié là ou soit on finit que ça bout.
Après mon descend avec Piocadas.
No, afterwards I went down with Piocadas.
Went back to the control room and then next
dans le store.
No, we went to the store.
To the store.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell the story.
Et dans le store dans la uniforme pour les officiers qui uniforme tin sale.
Upon arriving to the store, I had removed all the uniforms to give to the officers that their uniforms were damaged.
Are these prison officers or police officers?
Police officer.
Police officer.
Police
what kind
for
of
us, prison officer?
Prison officer.
Prison officer, yeah.
So you were giving them prison uniforms?
Prison, yeah, t-shirt, yeah.
Okay, and then next?
And mon là, vous savez, pour les bonnes matin. I
was there, and that was at around early in the morning, but afterwards I left.
You were there where?
At the administration up there.
So you went to the store to get uniforms.
Yeah.
Did you give the uniforms to the officers?
Yeah, with the officer. Yeah.
Where did you meet the officers? In the prison section or
no.
at the admin block?
Gate 7.
No, Gate 7 upstairs.
Upstairs at
yeah,
Gate
not
7.
Far with, he parle avec administration.
It's not far from to the administration.
Then after giving them the uniforms, you remained there.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
And then next?
And then I just remained around the area. And I left afterwards.
What time did you leave?
I would not recall.
Okay.
But when I reached home, I looked at the time. It was 6 a.m.
When you say you left, you mean leaving the prison to go home?
Yeah.
And
yes.
You don't know what time you left?
I cannot recall the time.
Just a moment. Okay.
You wanted, maybe you say you don't remember the time, but you reach home at 6 a.m. Okay. How far do you leave from the prison? Where do you live?
Not far.
Okay. How long does it take to reach your home from the prison?
5 minutes.
Okay.
Not 1 hour.
So you would have left after 5 a.m.
Oui, papa.
Yes,
so if you don't
not
leave
far.
Okay, sorry.
No.
So if you don't leave far, it means that you will have left the prison. If you arrived home at 6 a.m., you will have left the prison after 5 a.m.
I would not be able to give a time. Exactly, I would only say the time that I reached home.
Okay. Will I be right in saying that you left the prison after 5 a.m., since it's less than 1 hour, you leave less than 1 hour away from the prison?
Approximately, yes. And then afterwards, I came back.
Okay, before you continue, We just want to make sure that we have a big picture of what happened, because now you have finished your story of the 5th of December, right? So before you go to the 6th, before you go to the 6th, so the 5th of December, is it your testimony that the only time you went into the prison section, the male block prison section, was when you went to check upstairs, the upper section, where you saw Inspector Ivan, and you didn't stay there for long because you had sinuses. Then you got out.
Yeah.
So on the 5th of December, the only time you went into the male block prison section was that time.
Yeah.
And this is around 9:30 p.m. That's what you said. Am I correct?
9:30?
Yeah, you said 9 to 9:30 p.m.
No, 9:30. C'est ça on peut dire. Night salé là. Mon petit en bas mon. Mon petit en bas. Salé nivé, mon petit en bas mon. Mon petit comment t'allais nivé mon. Mon 18.
That's what I'm
trying
to say. At around 9 something, I was still down there. It was
around
okay.
10 that I went upstairs.
Yeah, some of these questions, they can just be answered by saying yes, no.
No.
The time I was there is this time. But that's fine. So anyways, now we are on the 6th of December. What time did you come back to prison?
At around 2.
Around 2
après-midi?
Oui, après-midi.
PM.
2 p.m. And I want to ask you that question again. Do you know the exact time you came back to prison on the 6th of December?
Imagine qu'il exactement tu tournes contre prison le 6.
Son l'autre mère.
The next day, that is?
6 December. Yeah.
Oui.
Tu l'après-midi.
In the afternoon.
What time?
Des après-midi.
2 p.m. something.
Are you sure it was 2 p.m.?
Yes, à peu près.
Yes, approximately.
Okay, so
par contre, ça exactement, je m'imagine à peu près ça là qui m'ont venu.
I'm thinking approximately, but I cannot recall the exact time.
Okay, so that's the clarification I wanted. That it's what you are telling us is approximately 2 p.m.
Yes,
right? Okay. Then what happened? What did you do after you have arrived?
Well, I could get one, could my unit.
I was down there at the Gate 1 in my unit.
That is the control room?
No.
Okay.
Gate 1.
So can you tell us more about Gate 1?
Oui, mais non, could you search? Bring me back Gate 1 ba. Could you ver, could you want to là? Could you faire search? Want to faire search?
First gate over there down where you enter. The first gate that you enter inside where they conduct the search.
Okay, so that's where you are. And then what happens?
Après, mon descend en bas. La petite salty. On qui autres petits salty. Les toits prison.
And then I went down there and watching over them removing the rubbish from the prison, cleaning the prison.
Who is them?
Prison officer.
The prison officers.
Okay. And then?
Mon simon, tu m'as donné la main, mon fouillant de bonnes sections, à cause ça y mon ouvrage.
And I also
prison.
helped out. I went and gave a hand, and I also conducted search in the prison because this is my line of work.
Okay. So before we continue now with the search, when you arrived at the prison, and I want you to say yes or no, when you arrived at the prison around 6 a.m., did you get any briefing, any update on the situation?
J'arrive à prison environ 6 h 2 p.m.
At 6 a.m. when you reported for duty.
No,
sorry, you said approximately 2 p.m.
You mean the next day?
Yes, approximately 2 p.m.
Yeah.
On the 6th of December when you arrived, did you get any debrief on the situation? Any update?
No.
So you just arrived and then started working?
Information,
I had to go and sort out the
Mon quelle
information
autre
myself
information qui n'arrive ce que c'est OK.
to see what happened, if everything was okay.
I want you to say yes or no.
No.
Did you get any security briefing when you reported for duty at 2 p.m., at approximately 2 p.m. when you came back for work? No.
No.
Okay. But there was a riot at the prison.
Because
The
la
day
We are
before.
talking
Do you still say there was a riot at the prison
No, les 5 ça.
on the 5th of December?
Non, plus il fait du calme.
No, I'm saying earlier on you said there was a riot on 5 December, right? So on 6 December you come back
Yeah.
to work at 2 p.m.
Yeah, this is my duty normal.
Yes, your duty normal, and there is no security briefing for you.
Yo,
But yet there has been a riot in the prison.
No.
Okay, that's fine. Then what happens? You see officers cleaning.
Yeah.
You
Pois
continue
mon
with
a de
your work.
prison aussi à cause moi mon louvage les mal de prison ça joue mon louvage c'est petit téléphone petit ban assistance comme ça il mon louvage.
So I went in the prison because according to the nature of my work, I'm responsible for removing cell phones, devices. This is my job.
Laptops, everything. And
Okay, and you went into the prison to search.
yeah.
Tell us what happened.
Fouiller, on tient beaucoup téléphone.
We removed a lot of phones on that day,
Beaucoup grand couteau, beaucoup outils.
a lot of machetes, a lot of weapons, tools.
Machetes work with me. Weapons, you removed machetes.
Yeah.
What
grand
else?
Couteau, petit couteau.
Machete, small knives.
Small knives.
Bandi ba continue faire bandi ba piquant continue faire que le continue mettre avec.
Pieces of wood that had nails
Après, moi,
being
petit
stuck
fridge,
on
passé.
them as spikes. Après,
Pieces of
Empty
wood.
fridge.
empty fridge.
Petit fridge blanc.
Sorry, empty fridge.
Empty also empty.
Fridge. Empty fridge. Empty
Just a
mini
small
bar, but-
fridge. A small one.
Small-
A small white fridge.
A small fridge.
Yeah.
So it's a bar fridge.
Yes.
Okay.
On tire.
I removed that.
You removed that from who? Because you are saying you went to search. Did you search and find these things or what?
Search, fine.
You searched the
Yeah.
prisoners.
No, with the cell.
You searched the cells.
Yeah.
And then you found these things.
The foot, yeah. Because eu tenho cachette partout sur le connect. Como é que vem difficile? Les homens se téléphone partout là. Il est difficile pour connaître à cause. On est sobre je peux te mettre dans autres cells, je vais dans le cabinet, dans le tank. Là où fouiller ou bien tirer. Smartphone, le téléphone pas combien?
So they would usually hide the phones like everywhere, not just hide it in their cells. For example, inside the toilet tank, they would hide it elsewhere aside from their cell. And there was a lot of smartphones that day.
Yeah, but I think my question is not answered. I'm trying to understand because you went in to conduct a search. So I'm expecting a story that says that discloses something like, so you went to the different cells. Did you find things that were hidden because you are conducting a search, or did you find things that had already been gathered by some people?
Ou tu besoin de fouiller ou même pour battre avec ça bonne quelque chose ou bien tu déjà là en tas de certains endroits.
Je peux expliquer bien. Il y a une section qui est entrée, par les entrées. Mais qui sont toutes cachées.
In certain sections,
With
when you
cachette.
enter inside, there are certain things, items that they would hide.
À cause de là, c'est l'événement là. Qu'on donne, ils ont pensé le temps pour cacher ça bonne quelque chose. Cacher.
The convicts had taken their time for them to hide these
Pour le
things.
temps pour cacher.
They took their
So-
time to hide these things.
Pas tout facile pour aller trouver. Il faut dire qui est dans la prison.
It's not
Dans
easy
la
for
ça
you
serait
to.
pareillement. Moi, je dis, on a plus l'expérience, le côté search.
Locate these items, you need to have experience
Allez,
in the
pour
search
moi, le temps, pour aider. Écoute, ça va une question pour moi, le temps, pour connaître.
department.
Côté yéti.
Like myself, as an individual who is has experience in the search department, I would go and look for myself.
Okay.
On a le temps.
Okay.
On est, ou pas pour tout. On est, ou pas pour joindre.
There are some items that you will not
Pas pour joindre.
find.
That's so the story is you went in with the objective of conducting a search.
Yeah.
You conducted the search and you found these things. Is that the story?
Ça veut dire, ou tu n'as allé pour aller faire la fouille, et là, on fait la fouille, on a ça bonne quelque chose.
Il y a un téléphone.
Yes, these phones.
Okay. Did you conduct that search alone?
Tu peux
Non,
faire
tu n'as
tout
encore
ça.
garde. Tu n'as encore pas garde.
There
Tu n'as
were
pas ban encore qui assiste à coller moment vini. Les officiers tu des appels faire search. Tu des appels tirer ban di ban que zone.
There were a lot of other officers because when I had arrived, the officers was already conducting the search.
C'est ça mon petit
Okay.
les monde
So
vini
did you
des appels faire
join?
search.
Sorry. So did you join a search that was already going on, or did you go in there to start a search process yourself?
Ça veut dire tu joins la fouille qui tu déjà fini commencer ou bien là où tu arrivé là où qui tu commences sa procédure la fouille tout seul.
Non, moi les moment vini. So tu des appels faire ban search ban les autres celles. Pour exemple, on prend un search que tu déjà commencé, j'ai pas un qui peut encore qui peut encore commencer.
When I came, they
Vous
were
pouvez
already
pas
conducting searches in other cells, so I could not pick the ones that they were searching from, so I had to pick another cell for me to start the search.
Okay. So you conducted a
Yes.
search. You initiated.
Yes.
You started a search in certain sections, and you personally found the things that you told us that you found. Is that correct?
Yes.
The machetes, the small knives, the pieces of wood with nails, the small fridge, and telephones.
Non, fridge, ou va comprendre, ça fridge là, mon nom a passé, avait dit fridge n'a tiré.
That fridge I saw passing by, meaning that it had been removed.
Okay, can you tell us what you searched and what you personally found?
Téléphone, couteau, du bois, bâton
Phones,
colou, quand tu fais comme ça, tu fais bon bâton, tu bon colou avec.
knives, pieces of
Un
wood that
couteau.
they, machetes, pieces
couteau.
of wood that they had
Okay.
placed nails on it to use
Then
as
after the
weapons.
search, what happened?
Les nous fili les toyants, tu ben les autres, ils ont fait toyer, on prend tout dans, si nous prenons tout dans quelque chose qui pas nous mettre dans piquet pour c'était, tout ça on que soit ben pas couteau, ça vient en bas de mon. Côté sécurité, côté ghetto.
Completing, all the debris and all was removed and placed in a pickup truck for it to be thrown away. And then the qualité que j'ai reçu couteau.
Tout couteau ban ferraille qui nous
All-
si nous ban téléphone, tout ban quelque chose qui nous en avec.
The knives, the phones, and everything that we had descended with, it remained in the security section under our supervision.
Okay, and then what happens after that?
Nous fait procédure pareil. Pour exemple, j'ai fait petit portrait.
We did the procedure that we usually do at the prison. We took photographs.
Okay, and then what happened?
Après, nous marche tout. Présent, l'inspecteur qui là il qui molo font bout.
And then we picked up everything, and then that part, it falls under the responsibility of the inspector.
Is there
Hand over
anything?
with him.
Okay.
We handed over to him.
To him, yeah.
Were these searches being conducted in the presence of the prisoners, of the inmates?
Saban la fouille, tu peux gagner faire de présence saban condamné. Prison, y a-t-il allé la fouille, tu peux gagner
C'est
faire.
pas un pain.
We were taking one by one.
No, that's not what I asked. Whether the prisoners were present.
Les autres, tu
Ah,
peux
yes,
faire.
or
ça.
no?
Oui, les autres, tu peux faire la fouille de saban casso là. Saban prison, y a-t-il la péwa qu'ils autres peut faire?
Mon papier imaginer.
I do not, I
Pas
cannot
imaginer.
recall. I cannot
Pas
recall if
imaginer.
they were there
Sur mon télé
present.
perlé.
But there were some prisoners
Il y a
upstairs.
100 prisonniers sur mon papier imaginer.
Okay, I just want to. So you are let's talk about your search, the one you conducted, not the one that others, the one you conducted. So when you were conducting this search, his question is, okay, when you were conducting this search, you told us that you go into different cells.
Yes.
And check, things that may be hidden somewhere, right? So when you were conducting this search, where were the prisoners?
Prisoner, tenait ban choko en bas. De hadis cell qui nous metti.
There were some prisoners that was downstairs
Sur mo tenait ban qui chale.
in the 2 cells that we had placed them in, but there were some
Mo ti pe fouiller mo pe machine. Ici bija tenait de sur mon papier, ici bija tenait.
So when you were conducting the search in the cells, the prisoners who live in those cells were not there.
avait dit là tu peux faire la fouille dans une casse. There were two. There were two individuals. There were 2 inmates because there were others that were also assisting with the cleaning.
I think you have gone back to not answering questions. Please. You have now started not answering questions. And maybe you just take time to listen to the question. Then we have all the time, right? So you take time to listen to the question, then answer. So you when you do your search, you told us that you go into different cells looking for contraband, right? And you told us that you found machetes, you found knives, you found phones, and other things. So the question is, when you went into each of these cells, were the inmates in those cells? Were they physically in the cells that you were searching?
Yes, you have some inmates cleaning.
I think the answer is
yes.
In each cell?
Yes.
But that's not the answer you gave him.
No, that's not the answer.
No, he have these inmates to clean.
Huh?
Yes, there were prisoners inside. But not all of them.
Not all of them.
The Saksaban Kaso individuellement, comme si vous pouvez dire?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there are some cells where you conducted the search, but the prisoners were not in those cells.
Ça veut dire qu'il y a un caso qui là où tu peux faire la fouille, prisonnier parti dans sa caso?
No.
No.
Okay, so which is which now?
Non, tu n'as pas ou bien oui, tu en as.
On peut expliquer bien comment nous faisons ça search. Je crois que vous
Don't answer the question directly.
Non, n'a pas.
Tu en as dit monde de ton peut faire ça, tu bien tu n'as pas.
Tu en as connu de sa ward.
Oui, je tu peux assister ou je tu peux quitter qu'on peut faire.
Oui, il y en a un cas c'est souvent pas dit monde qui dormi là, souvent li là.
There was someone assisting, but not the person that sleeps in that particular cell, but there was someone there.
So, and I want you to say yes or no. So you are saying there are some cells which you conducted the search, but the prisoners who live in those cells were not there.
Ça veut dire ça que vous pouvez dire là, qu'il y a un certain cas qui on fait la fouille là-dedans, qui sa bonne prisonnier qui dormi dans sa casse naturellement, les partis là, les autres partis là.
Some we have, some we don't have.
Yes or no, please?
No.
He said no. Non, tu n'as pas. C'était casso, tu n'as pas.
Non, ça dit moun même non. Souvent elle dit moun là.
The person that sleeps in that cell was not there, but there was someone else present while the search was being conducted.
Yeah, so that's the problem when you don't answer the questions. The question is, when you conducted the search, there are some cells where you conducted the search, but the prisoner who lives in that cell was not there. Yes or no?
Oui ou bien non. Là où tu peux faire la fouille dans sa bonne casso, il y a un certain casso spécifiquement qui sa prisonnier qui ou qu'on ait dormi là dans la casso, il parti là.
No.
They were not there.
Il parti là. No.
Okay.
It's now that I understand the question.
Yes. So maybe if you just wait and then wait for him to translate, then you hear the question. If you don't understand the question, you are also allowed to say, can you ask again? Right. Okay, and then you have finished the search, you have found all these things, you have now done the other procedures to take photos of the things that you found. Is there anything that you did on that day, 6 December?
Après qu'on finit faire ça, ben la fouille par une dit tout ben quelque chose in fini chi porte.
Is there anything you did?
Aucun les autres quelque
Apart
chose qui
from
fait
the
encore
search.
ça zou à part qui ça?
Non, non. Le monde faut faire attendre, faut faire aussi.
Because upon completion of that, it was already late.
Late like what time?
Qu'il est à peu près.
C'est qu'une finition.
It was already 5 p.m.
5 p.m. What time did you left the prison to go home?
Qu'il est que tu quittes prison pour aller côté?
Moi, ben 8h il fait.
8 to 9.
Sorry?
From 8 to 9.
I don't have.
So you don't have exact time that you left
When I
work.
yeah, when I parle à Limo.
I don't have a time.
So let us again just listen to the question. Well, some questions are yes or no, right? So, do you know the exact time that you left work on 6 December?
Vous connaissez exactement quand tu quittes travail le 6 décembre?
Ça joue qui j'arrive ça bonne situation bonne.
Le 6 décembre. Le 6 sur le lendemain.
Son l'autre mai, moi qui mon papa imagine qu'il est moi qui quitte tard roulement.
I cannot recall when I left, but I left late. It was late when I left.
Okay, so to just summarize what happens on the 6th, the only thing that you came to do on the 6th of December
This is my
is
duty.
to do the search. That's the only thing that you did,
Yeah.
and then that is it.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, this is my duty.
Okay, so we are going to take a 5-minute break, right? We will take a 5-minute break. Then we will come back. We have, I think, a lot of questions for you, and the commissioners will be asking you questions based on what you have told us. So maybe should we 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
We'll be back in 10 minutes. I know.
Okay, so let's say 10 minutes. It is 10 minutes to 12, so we are back at 12 o'clock sharp. Yeah. You can also take a break.